Hi. So, I have no notes. I have nothing to look at. I'm going to give you story time tonight on the time I met Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney, Stella McCartney and Jonathan Leach Jr. Now, before you say she's full of shit, I've got proof to show you. I subsequently had dinner with the four of them and it was fantastic. And Paul McCartney is they're all, not just him, they're beautiful people. So what I've got to show you is a picture of me. I modelled for a photographer once when I was 17, so I was really little. So this is me when I was 17 years old. Ooh, can you see it? There we go. So I had long red hair. And this is a picture of me with Paul McCartney. And I've also got his autograph on here. And I'll tell you the whole story. Can you see it? And there's his autograph. That's the full picture. And as you might have noticed, there's Buddy Holly. And I'll explain why in a minute. So, as you might know, Michael Jackson bought all the rights to the Beatles music. Paul McCartney did the same, but with Buddy Holly. So he owned Buddy Holly's music. Now, before I went into the medical profession, I actually studied media studies and photography. And once a year, every 2 years, sorry, Paul McCartney sent out an invitation to all the final year media students to do a certain task, and our task was to find an unreleased Buddy Holly song. I can't remember it. I can't find the video, but it was good. So find an unreleased Buddy Holly song and make a video to it, submit the video. So I wrote, I directed, and I got the boys that I was on the course with to star in it for me, because clearly I don't look like Buddy Holly. So we did it, we submitted it, and we finished college. And that was in the summer of, when's that? From 1994. So we finished in July, and we just thought, that's it, we're done. You know, we've entered this competition, didn't think anything else of it, and we all moved on with our lives. Now, fast forward to September of 1994, my old media, he's not old, sorry Keith, my old media student, my old media lecturer contacted me and said, we're in the top 3. I said, the top 3 of what? He said, the Buddy Holly Paul McCartney competition. I said, you're joking? He said, no. He said, we've all been invited down to London, and we're going to meet Paul McCartney and lots of other famous people, and they're going to announce the winner. And I was just like, oh my God. So my dad was a huge Beatles fan. So ran down to my dad's house. I said, Dad, I'm going to meet Paul McCartney. I don't know what to say. And he said, he's just another human being like you and me. He's just a person. He just happens to be more famous than us. And I was like, okay, good philosophy. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just treat him like another person. And I always treat people how I like to be treated. So I never belittle people. I never make them feel bad. You know, I like to think I'm genuinely a nice person. So me and the boys on the picture that you can see, they were in the band. This is Danny here. He played Buddy Holly. This is Stephen. He was one of the crickets. There's Paul McCartney, and there's me. So, and there was 2 others, plus our lecturer, Keith. So we went down to London, and it was absolutely chucking it down. Now, as you might remember from my picture, at the time, I had long red hair with a natural curling it. This was completely natural. So I got absolutely drenched. I was like, it was like to my head. So we ran in, and there was tables set up for each group. There was 3 tables for each group, and then just lots of other tables for all different sorts of people that were invited to this exclusive VIP only event. So I ran straight to the toilets, being a 17-year-old girl, and there was a hand dryer, you know, one of those ones that you can turn upside down and you can dry your hair. So I was doing this. I was just there trying to dry my hair, trying to make it look nice, because I made it look nice, and I'd made it all the way on the train to London. And in flew this girl with long red hair as well. And she went, oh my God, can I share the hairdryer? I was like, of course you can. So we were both under this hairdryer trying desperately to do something with the mops that we were sort of head to head and giving it all this. So we walked out of the toilets together with slightly touloused hair. And she said, nice to meet you. She went, Dad. And I looked over, and Paul McCartney turned around and said, we're over here, babe. And I was like, oh my God, that's his daughter. But I don't know her name. It was really weird. So I went over to the boys and went, I was just in the toilets trying to dry my hair. And this girl came in and she was drying her hair. And then she came out and shouted, Dad. And Paul McCartney turned around. So it's one of his daughters. And I know he's got one called Mary and one called Stella, but I'm not sure which one it is. And they were like, just calm your farm. Calm down. And I was like, okay. All's good. So we were all sat round at our tables, and it was free bar. It was free food. It was vegetarian food. Linda McCartney had done the whole spread. It was beautiful because I'm a vegetarian, so I really appreciated the vegetarian food there. And all the videos were shown up on the big screen, and we came 3rd out of 3. But we still came 3rd out of the entire country. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth. So anyway, I went to the bar, and Clive James was stood at the bar, and I went, oh my God, you're so funny. And he went, oh, thank you very much. And then to the right of me was Eric Clapton. And I was just like, okay, can I just get orange juice, please? And I just looked around, and I was just like, I had one of those cameras, you know, the film cameras. So I was just snapping pictures of people, because I'm thinking, I don't know who they are. But when I get my pictures developed, when I get home, my dad will be able to tell me who they are. I knew who Clive James was, and I knew who Eric Clapton was. So anyway, we're all at the tables again. I'd started drinking lager and told them I was 18. So I was a little bit boozy. So I went over to Paul McCartney's table. He was sat there. There was Paul, Linda, Stella, who I found out was Stella McCartney, and Donovan Leach Jr., Donovan's son. So I said, and there was a table at the end of the table that was spare. So I went over and I said, excuse me, I said, please may I have your autograph? And he said, of course. He said, sit down. And then Stella looked at me and she went, red hair, wet toilets. And I went, you got it. And she went, come and join us. And then Linda was sat there. She was like, yeah, come. She went, we're all people. And I was just like, my God, that's what my dad said. So we were sat just chatting out. Linda was to my left. Paul was to my right. And I said, you know, what are you up to these days? What are you doing? And she said, well, I'm trying to launch my vegetarian line in the UK. You know, I'm encouraging more people to be vegetarian. Didn't speak to Stella and Donovan Jr., just like, hey, like we sort of seen each other in the toilets. And I said to Paul, I said, so what are you doing? And he said, we're actually putting together the Beatles anthology. He said, me, Ringo and George are doing it. And I said, you've got to bear with me. I was 17 and naive. I said, how can you put together an anthology if John Lennon's dead? And he said, we're not looking at it as he's dead. We're just going to write it and put it together as if he's alive. And I was like, whoa. I said, that's really cool. And I said, why are you a vegetarian? He said, well, why are you a vegetarian? And I said, because I don't like meat. And he said, but is it for ethical reasons or do you just not like meat? I said, well, both. I said, I don't like the taste of it. I've tried it, obviously, and I'd rather eat something vegetarian, but it's not necessary for ethical reasons because I feel that animals need to be eaten. I'm not sure that was the right thing to say, but that's my opinion. He gave me his opinion. So I'll tell you what he said to me. This was the moment Paul McCartney became a vegetarian. They had a house up in Scotland at the Mull of Kintyre, and he said to me he was up there one day and he was fishing, and he was fishing for coral, rainbow and brown trout, and he said he caught this brown trout, and he said as he held it in his hands and he took the hook out of its mouth, he said he could see the fish going gasping for air. He says, and he looked into the fish's eye, I could only see one of it, and realised that that fish's life was as important to the fish as Paul McCartney's life was to him. So he said, I picked it up, I kissed its back, and I let it go, and it said, off he went. He said, and from that moment on, something as simplistic as going fishing made me want to be a vegetarian. So all I can say is he did not act like a diva. None of them did. He wasn't, I'm a superstar, you're nothing. He was just so nice. And I'm trying to work back. I mean, I'm late 30s, early 40s now. So that would have been 20 years ago. So he would have been in his 40s. And Linda was there, so obviously before she died. But they were just so nice. Really, really nice people. And that is my story time. And I haven't really met anybody else that famous. I met Paul Simon once and told him he smelt of weed, and he said, yeah, thanks. But I was 14. That was it. So I don't really have anything more to say on that. But yeah, that was my story about meeting and eating with Paul, Linda and Stella McCartney. And also Donovan's son. Big Donovan fan. And the Rolling Stones, as you can see there. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry if I bored you, but I just thought, story time, why not? It's not serial killers. It's just a story. Well, it's not, it's true. So, anyway, I'll leave you with... Can you see it? Oh, where am I going? Where have I gone? There we go, there we go. There's me and Paul, and I've got his autograph. And he said cheers, because we were having half lager each and we cheered. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Take care.